We began by working to impose the files using the Preps and Printergy software in the 204 lab. Some of the files we were given were corrupt, so we had to go back and get the originals and refine everything on our own. We got it all squared away, and then we moved on to the next step.
Printing. This was one of the most difficult parts with the Konica being down, and the process once it did get going was a lot slower than we thought. Our main goal here though was just to get the duplex print lined up correctly. So as you can see here, we're adjusting the image position, and this had to be adjusted throughout the print as the Konica would get slightly off.
We decided to use the MBO to fold both our books. We only had one fold, so it was simple to set up. One problem we faced during this step was the orientation of the paper. Our first few books were folded upside down and had to be refolded by hand because of the way the paper was placed on the bed.
Next, we cut down the guts and the covers to make them to size. We tried to leave around an inch on each product on each side to make sure there was enough room for binding and fitting everything in there. We also had a couple problems with covers that had misspelling and poorly laid out images, so we fixed those up and we're all good to go. Next, we had to set up the perfect binder, so we set up the spine width and the clamps and everything so the paper would run through the machine smoothly. Then we took the guts, put them into the perfect binder. We actually switched out the pieces that held the tops of the paper because they were too short, so we switched that out every time. Pushed it all in, and then we ran the perfect binder. Wait a minute. Then we cut down the books to size. We cut off the extra inch that we had left on the sides, made everything correct, and our first book was finished.
For our second book, we elected to spiral bind because the dimensions of the book were not suitable for the perfect binder. As you can see, the book is longer than it is tall. To spiral bind, we first placed holes where we wanted the bind to be. This took a bit of time as we could only punch a few pages at a time. We then ran the spiral through the book. We elected to do this step by hand because our spine was not that big and our book needed to be held down tightly in order to get the spine in the correct location.